Jordan Long, and today I'm going to talk about, this one thing that, you know, happens. Well, it's not anything bad that happens, but, you know. So, yeah, I guess maybe it's more of a follow up film from the film I made yesterday. Now, everybody has their grounds, their sake, their why for why they don't choose, why they don't pick when it comes to leadership. And in the Onded Reich, you have about four kinds of leadership. You got near, earldom, Reich, and land. And the ones that folks probably know more about than any other is most likely land and Reich. So, yeah, at least those are the ones that folks, at least those are the ones that are talked about more. Not to say that earldom and near aren't talked about, but unless you happen to live in a near leadership that's big, the seeking of it being talked about is less and less. But anyway, one thing that all four forms, all four kinds of leadership have is that they're all folk wealths or folk needs, meaning that the folks are the ones that have the oversight to choose the leadership. Now, I keep out of it. I have never been in any leadership choosing or picking, either be near earldom, Reich, or land. It's just, well, I just never. Well, the truth is, I never thought my voice would be heard. And yes, there probably are a lot of folks out there who might see this, but this probably is true. And there are a lot of folks out there who believe that on many sides. Two, the lawmaking gathering sometimes besmirch it too, because each side wants you to believe that they hate the other side, but that's not true. But there's a lot of besmirching, or even if it's not besmirching, a lot of fighting between both sides, which I don't really think there really truly isn't. But the truth is, I never really fell into any of the lawmaking gatherings out there. And the scathing of lawmaking gatherings is that sometimes they might do what's good for the gathering, not what's always good for the land or the folks or the leadership. But N2, N3, there isn't any one zone when it comes to this thing. A lot of it you go to a certain stead, and then you gotta go to a choosing or a picking tool, and then they got about, I don't know, whoever it is, and stuff like that. But I was never into that. Maybe I was also a fright, and May's a French bar word. Get out of here. Anyway, I was frightened. Or I also thought that there are folks out there, well, you think that you got the winning side. No, this side's the winning side. This side's the bad side. No, this side's the good side. And there's a lot of that shit going on when it comes to mud throwing or dirt throwing, which I believe should not be a break of lawmaking. But anyway, it's an old thing. Goes back to Greece, or at least to Helen, back to Hellenes, at least to Athens. Goes back to Rome. It's not some new thing, but it should not be in lawmaking. Anyway, and made it, and get out of here. And the made it guilt, making me feel guilty about doing it. They didn't do a good job of it. And then someone be like, "What do you mean you don't do that?" I don't choose and pick. Oh, you're gonna let others choose and pick for you? Yeah, our land's been doing that for 244 years, you know. Oh, well, we just had more folks choosing and picking, the right sides would win. Yeah, that whole guilt trip shit. You know, if we had more folks choosing and picking, the other side would win. Well, I don't really know about that. There's only 50 Reichs, and many overseas lands that the Onded Reichs lords over, but they're not Reichs, and I really don't think that would make any of unlikeness. So at the end of the day, yeah, that was the whole guilt trip thing. That's one of the things some folks throw at you to make you feel guilty. Oh well, if there were more folks choosing and picking, so and so would have been, I don't know, land leader or Reich leader, earldom leader, or burgermeister, or someone would have been a lawmaker in the Wiltermalt. Either that be either in land, Reich, earldom, or near. Or someone would have been law lord. Because at least in Reich, earldom, and near, the law lords are chosen. But in land, they're picked. Anyway, yeah, that whole guilt trip, I guess, never really worked, I guess. Or I just never really, want to get into it. Another grounds was, which say there's someone who didn't like someone for being land leader or Reich leader or earldom leader or burgermeister or some kind of lawmaker of some kind or law lord, and they don't like them, and they seek out and they learn that someone chose and picked them, or they learn that, yeah, would say they do something, they know, would say they make some law or do some oversight or do something that they don't like. Well then, I'm always frightened they're gonna say, "Oh, so you're the one that gave him or her the job, chose them to be in leadership, and they did this. This is your fault." Actually, no. They're answerable for their own deeds, good and bad. Not me. I'm not answerable for anything they do. Don't blame me. So that's also another grounds to why I keep out of it. So no one can blame me. Which at the end of the day, no one does. They just blame the other lawmaking gathering. Which at the end of the day blames the other lawmaking gathering. Which at the end of the day, the truth is that what the truth is that both sides. What the truth is that anyone who is chosen for leadership is answerable for his or her behavior and what they do. At least running the leadership wise. Everything else is like whatever. But yeah, so I just keep out of it. You know. And I know there are some lands out there well, leadership choosing and picking is a law. So then I would just but thank God I don't live in those lands. And there's some folks in this land who believe it should be a law too. Why? Who knows? They don't got the grounds for it. They don't know why. That's it. I'm Jordan Long, and I hope you like this film.